Welcome everyone to the Solana Validator community call, April 13th, 2023. So agenda today, we're going to talk about some validator updates. I'm going to mention the educational workshop that I want to put on. I'm hoping to get some outside help from that. So get more detail on that, and then just open discussion if there's any items people want to bring up. So first of all, a lot of content on this slide. There's a couple things going on with mainnet beta. So 1.13.7 is recommended for up to 25% of stake. I should start this all off by saying 1.13.6 is currently the recommended version. 1.13.7, we're trying to get to 25% of stake on that version before we call for a general upgrade to 1.13.7. So right now we're at 20.5 last I checked % of stake. We'd like to encourage people to get up to 25% before we go for a full rollout. Also, there was a call today. If you are currently running 1.14, just for people who already have that version running, please upgrade to 1.14.17. So, yep, there's a note to upgrade there. We noticed a few validators on 1.14.16 and 1.14.17 would be the upgrade path there. Again, this is not a general upgrade request. So if you're not currently on 1.14, do not upgrade. Just for people who already are running 1.14. And yeah, I wanted to sort of solicit feedback on this. Is there any apprehension or things slowing people down from upgrading to 1.13.7? Any feedback, concerns?
I'm running it and it's no problem. It's a minor point release. I didn't expect there to be any problems because it is a minor point release and there hasn't been any problems for me.
Good.
Yeah, I'm also running it, so I haven't had any issues.
Okay. Yeah, I think part of this is that normally we do this kind of more measured release plan when we're doing a minor version upgrade. So like from 1.13 to 1.14, we typically go 10%, 25%, and then the whole cluster. We haven't done that in the past with minor, so like 1.13.6 to 1.13.7 version changes. Maybe that's what's slowing it down a bit more than usual. But yeah, any feedback about apprehensions or what's slowing things down would be helpful. But ideally, once we get to that 25% mark, then we could call for the general upgrade and hopefully unblock some things. Yeah.
I think the main question
Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I asked a question in Discord, and it would be helpful for me just to understand how 1.13.7, just I guess what the general thought process is going behind the scenes related to what's going on based on the findings from the previous restart. I'm having a hard time connecting the dots between the current plan here and maybe what some of the findings have been.
Yeah, the issue there is that some of the changes are not publicly available yet. Like the reason for some of these changes are not publicly available. Once we get the cluster on 1.13.7, that'll be released. If any engineers on the call want to add more info or color to that. But essentially that's kind of the info I've got, that 1.13.7 contains some stability fixes that the engineers don't want to talk about publicly yet. And once the cluster has been upgraded, then we'll release more detailed description of what the changes are for.
You're looking at the change list. There's a lot of stuff related to deduping and fetch stage false positives and lots of stuff that seem in the bloom filter. Lots of stuff that seemed like it could be related to the most recent crash. How they specifically fix those issues, not obvious to me, but that seems to be the majority of what's in 1.13.7. And it's very good for us to be testing it, all that stuff. So get on 1.13.7.
Any more questions or feedback on the release process or anything about the mainnet rollout?
I would just add that we're on 113.7 of the Jito client, and it's been running pretty well for us. If anybody else is thinking about upgrading the Jito client as well.
Cool. Good to hear. Yeah, I saw in Discord that there was an issue that Lane and maybe a couple others had, excuse me, with the Jito client. And that turned out to be an issue related to how he was building it. So he was building from source and was on a different CPU on one machine when he was building versus the validator that was actually running it. So that appears to have been the issue. So as far as I've been aware, there's not been too many hangups with 113.7. Okay, well, no other feedback, moving on. So similarly for testnet, we're trying to get 114.17 to be slightly above superminority of the cluster. That way we can have a bit of interoperability testing between 113 and 114 on an ongoing basis before we do the rollout to mainnet. So if you're running a testnet validator and you have not upgraded to 114.17, I'd recommend it. We only have a few more percent of stake to get to slightly over 33%. So again, the recommended version is 113.7, but if you are willing to upgrade, 114.17 would help us out to get to 33%. Yeah, any questions on that? Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to add a note here that I'm hoping that this testing will be useful sort of in the future ongoing basis, right? I think it's a good strategy to have 113 and 114 have two different minor versions running in a testnet cluster, more likely to find consensus issues and more likely to find problems during an upgrade or before the upgrade happens on mainnet. Just a note here that Saga Mobile launched an hour ago or so. So if you're not aware, want to check it out. It's a big initiative from Solana Labs. A lot of people worked on it, and pretty cool demo day today. So solanamobile.com hardware. That's all the info for Saga, the Solana phone.
Did anybody here used it?
I've used it. Yeah, we've got a test device internally, but I don't know about external people.
So, yeah, okay. I don't want to derail the conversation, but I'm very curious about it. If there's any bullet point you can give about it that.
I mean, the key feature is that there's going to be a dApp store, and there's also going to be hardware level encryption so that you have a seed vault is what they're calling it. So you can keep private keys away from the actual apps, right? If let's say you're a wallet like Phantom or Soulflare, you're not actually custodying the keys yourself, you're talking to the vault. So it's potential to unlock a lot of cool Web3 use cases beyond just wallets.
Zan, they also did a live stream about an hour ago and announced a bunch of cool stuff.
I assume I'll find a link to that from the Solana mobile site.
Yeah, the live stream happened super recently, so I can, if anybody has it on hand, please share. I'm not sure if it's actually on YouTube yet, like the completed video. But looks like there's a link there.
I think the exciting thing for me was the fact that the developers can reward users on the dApp store and just give them a bunch of free stuff. That's pretty cool. Like, hey, come try my product. Here's 5 USDC. Or free NFT, things like that.
Cool. Oh yeah, link in chat and check it out. I think it's pretty cool. Moving on to educational workshops. So I haven't done this in a while. Want to kind of get on a more regular cadence of these. But the ask here is for anybody willing to lead a workshop, and not even necessarily having to create a lesson plan or to do too much work, mainly just coming up with a couple slides and maybe even just finding people who are knowledgeable about something to talk. I'm going to continue to do these, but again, it would be great if some community members took some of this over. So some ideas that have been talked about in the past: denial of service mitigation, essentially talking to some data centers, figuring out what options exist, how they handle denial attacks. And then there's also been some thoughts in the past about what to look for in the logs, how people kind of like parse their logs as a validator and figure out what is or isn't working well based on the logs. But again, if there's a topic you're passionate about, let me know and I can set you up for the workshop. But anyway, Wednesday the 26th at 5 p.m. UTC, so 10 a.m. my time, 5 p.m. UTC in general. Are there any topics people want covered or want to talk about?
I nominate Brian Long to give a presentation on his deep dive from way back. That's the only one I ever saw that provided any details that people could use. So it would be good maybe to help disseminate some of that.
I was thinking the same thing. I looked at that deep dive and that was incredible. That was really good information.
Thanks. Yeah, dumpster diving in the Solana logs. Yeah, it would be interesting. That is something everybody really needs to be more familiar with. So yeah, I'll do what I can to help for sure.
I'm searching for it right now. I think it's on, log deep dives, right?
Yeah, validators.app. There's a link down in the footer. It's ancient history at this point, but I would need to update that too because some of the logging has changed, and there's probably some other important things that I haven't looked at in a while. So
for the curious, I'm putting what I found quickly from Googling here. There could be other content as well. But yeah, if you haven't read that, even if some of it might be outdated, it's still a really good thought process sort of review of how Brian looks through the logs. Okay, well,
Tim messaged me too. I might be willing to throw some insights in or whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to put together a slide deck, but I don't know, maybe like the things I commonly look for when I jump in a node or ask somebody to send me logs.
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
Yeah,
even if you just give me some ideas and then I translate it into slides, that would be fine.
All right, good deal. Ping me offline.
Okay, sounds good. Cool. All right, so Wednesday the 26th, we'll have something. We'll figure out the topic and I'll announce it when it gets closer, but that's the idea. All right, that's all the specific content I got. Are there any other questions or topics people want to bring up?
I was wondering, during the last community-led call, we talked about this bot that was being built. I was wondering if there were any updates on that.
Yeah, not any recent ones that I know of. I think John Wong, who's leading that on the foundation side, is at NFT NYC and probably pretty busy this week. But I can check with him to get any updates. I'll put that in Discord. But yeah, as far as I know, he's probably pretty swamped this week. There was some discussion and feedback on it in the last validator call. Were you able to see that or join the call? I don't remember.
No, I missed that one.
Okay, yeah. I can summarize that one as well. I've got to go and look through the video. I think the general takeaway was there was some feedback on how the bot's working and not wanting to go to a third-party site in order to authenticate to interact with the bot. I gave that feedback to John. I don't know. I don't know where he's at in terms of development or starting yet.
I think there might be a channel as well. The gated, on the server. I think they were chatting about it a bit.
Yeah, project gated roles. I'll put
Yeah.
that in the chat. Validator gated roles.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yep. So I added to chat the channel where it's being discussed right now. I don't know if it's been. Yeah, there's been some somewhat recent activity. Anything else? Questions, thoughts?
I guess I have a thought. It's not really a question, but I saw that Breakpoint was announced for Amsterdam later this year,
Mhm.
which I think is pretty exciting. I'm going to try and make it this time. I missed the last one, but it looks like it was a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of people were there. It looks like there's partnerships with hotels, so there's going to be discounts, but they're not on the website yet. Last I knew.
Yeah, I don't know the details there. I think it's still to be announced. But yes, Breakpoint is happening at the end of October, early November. It's going to be in Amsterdam. Would love to see as many of you as possible there. Last Breakpoint was my first, and it was awesome. Met a lot of people in person. Really fun to see, just like the whole Solana community out there. And yeah, Amsterdam should be great. If you were in Lisbon last year, you know that one of the kind of challenges was we had different venues in different places. It took a little while to get between venues. So you kind of had to choose one for the day or most of the day. As far as I know, that won't be a problem in Amsterdam. Everything's going to be pretty close together. So it should be much easier to sort of pick and choose what you want to attend. So it should be pretty cool. Another thing, I definitely want to get a validator meetup going. We did one last year, but it was a little impromptu and required some like generous community members to step up and get it going. So this year I'm hoping to have a little bit more planning.
So last year I submitted a talk for Breakpoint called Validator Roundtable IRL. And I was stone cold rejected. There was no mercy, no respect.
Yeah.
Don't they know who runs this network? And just left us out cold, right?
Yeah.
So, but maybe I wasn't thinking big enough. So if there's enough interest within the validator community, maybe we could even do like a 4-hour ValCon, just a validator conference. Some short presentations from labs, Jito, Jump, other validators, maybe a roundtable, and then a dinner and a happy hour. So not like a full day commitment, but something half day. So if it sounds like there might be enough interest from people to do something like that, it would be participatory, right? We expect everybody to pitch in. That maybe they won't reject me so cold this time.
Yeah, I can try to get a little bit more plugged into the planning. I know that they try to plan out the events pretty early, and maybe they don't have as much. Certain people planning the events might not have as much insight into the validator side of things. So, yeah, I'll see what I can do this year to, move certain talks along.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome. Even if it's not a 4-hour deal, but it would be cool to hear, a presentation from Labs, Jito, Jump. Chris and I were on a panel last year when we've done panels before as well that were organized around Breakpoint, but not as a part of the central Breakpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But it might be fun to kind of bring the validators into the fold because we could take the network down anytime. So
You could.
Just kidding.
33%. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take an action item on that. Chris agrees. Just a show of kind of maybe reactions or emojis or whatever. How many people are planning on going? At least one. All right, cool. Cool. Yeah, it'd be great to see you all there. Awesome.
Tim, is there going to be like validator tickets or any ways to get in, not spending the full ticket price or anything like that?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, there isn't. Last year, they were pretty strict on having no discounts, and that was, I think, to make the event actually make sense financially for the foundation, because I think in previous events, we've done it at a loss because we gave away so many free tickets. So last breakpoint, that was not the case. There was no discounts or free tickets given away. I imagine it will be the same this year, but you know, I can let you know if that's not the case.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions or discussion, we'll end it here. Thanks, everyone. I will ask about the breakpoint agenda, I guess, see if we can get some validator stuff in there and get an update from John Wong on the gated roles stuff. Cool. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Tim. Yep, see you,
Thanks.
Tim.
Thanks.
Bye.